Hi friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Tezos. Now, we know a few things. We've been talking about a few things recently. I think we've had our finger on the pulse of things overall in terms of this market and what to look out for. And things have been kind of going along to plan. And it's just really nice to see. I think the Tezos community out there is really kind of friendly as well. So far, everybody that I've spoken to has been involved in it, which is great. And of course, as well, if you want to be part of the Rocky Outcrop community, there's a Discord link in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter as well, Rocky_Outcrop, and you can comment in these videos and all the rest of it. Like, subscribe, share it with a friend. I think everybody who watches one of these is a Rocky Outcrop petition, but I know that might be pure cringe, so I'm not going to necessarily force that phrase on anybody. Let's take a look at the Tezos prices versus the Bitcoin first off, and then versus the dollar coin after that. First off, right then, what were we looking at? In yesterday's episode, we had that speculative Fibonacci retracement drawn on there. Looking at these prices, 3,450 in terms of the Bitcoin prices, whatever that is, Satoshi things, that you need to be above in order to be above to remain this what do you call it, Fibonacci retrace to remain invalid. So that's what we want to see. Amith, you just said good morning to me in the Discord, by the way, just right now. I don't know if the notification will appear on the screencast, but anyway, give you a shout out since you just said hi to me. Hi, my friend. So yeah, of course, join that thing if you want to take part in everything and whatever. Anyhow, yeah, so we're above the 236. That's good to see that we've had that potential for us there in terms of support, and we want to see that remaining the case. We could potentially have our higher low in here, but of course we have to be aware that could come in anywhere down to even, happily enough, you could say 3,200 and that area down there at that 50% retrace. Should this Fibonacci retracement become valid, for instance, and should we be looking at having a small sort of correction in the market as part of this overall upward trend? And what things do we have going against that? Is the RSI is not divergent there, and sort of the last three chunks of it in terms of the stochastics, it's also not divergent. Now we know that the stochastics is living in this overbought territory, which is obviously you could easily say that what happens with the stochastics is it does this. Oh, let me draw. Come on, it does this sort of thing here. Where you can say, so if you're up at this point here, then you're going down to this point here, and that'll follow the price action. Blah blah. Of course you can. We tend to use these just purely for divergence, and to say that they're in this overbought territory is this extremely bullish territory, of course, where you want to see the prices actually at. And what are we facing in the meantime is all-time highs, of course. In one day, Tezos journey from 256 to 276. Rocky, the analysis should be. Oh, I didn't read the full sentence before it went away. Anyway, I'm afraid I'll have to check it out after we're done filming. Actually, no. Tell you what, I'll pause this. Hi, good morning. In one day, Tezos journey from 256 to Rocket should be in filmy style. Filmy style. I don't know what you mean there. I'm too concentrating too much on the price. I'll not distract myself. I'll just go back to the analysis. Anyway, that's a good crack, by the way. I really appreciate everybody who takes part. This isn't just me and Amith checking out Tezos together. There's hundreds of us out there. I really appreciate everybody who's involved in the community, and I'm really enjoying the positivity, like I say, from everybody out there as we grow this channel together. So thanks so much. Anyway, we're kind of discussing the notion as well of could you potentially have a sort of cup and handle thing evolve here on the charts. Now, nothing's perfect about it, really overall, but just kind of looking towards this as being like that. Could we get something like that happen? Should we need to go down any further overall? But I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to, or whatever. What I want to see happen is that being maintained, and for that to be to operate as support for us, and us to come up here and try off this again as part of this last blast, at least of the stochastics and whatnot not here, while the RSI is in the bullish control zone, and all of that, to have that happen there overall. And this is all kind of during this upward trend thing, as we have this upward slope on the DMI and everything's kind of looking decent, and we have no divergence in the MACD. I want to see that happen in and around now, and everything, and then for us to get so we can say we've got a non-divergent, a convergent high up here, as I'm putting all-time high highs on this particular chart here, which is the Binance one for Tezos versus Bitcoin, and then we can kind of think about things. But at the minute, you know, if that's what I'm kind of keeping my eye out for. Are we going to try that or not? Dive over to the dollar prices and take a look here at how things have been going. And we know that we have this general area here where there's resistance, obviously, and that's where the prices kind of find themselves in at now in the meantime. And that concept of could this be a sort of basin and us need to do something before going up makes sense in terms of, you know, oscillators and whatnot having to reset or whatever else, but it's actually ultimately the same sort of story as the Bitcoin pricing, you know, really overall, because what I want to see happen is for us to be able to go up and versus the dollar price, you know, regardless of what happens to Bitcoin in the future, in the near future, I want to be able to see this asset maintain its strength and actually make it above these areas and get a high in. Now, if we don't get a high in above this area at 315 in the next, you know, as part of this overall process of this part, excuse me for being so messy, but, you know, getting the point over. If we don't do it, you know, at some point, then you will end up having a area here on the RSI, which is higher than here. The stochastics likewise, you know, likewise across the board, and that would be hidden bearish divergence. You know, that would be hidden bearish divergence as part of what could potentially be lower highs and lower lows and all the rest of it. So I don't want to see that happening. Instead, what I want to see it happening. What I want to see happening is convergence, and for this to become convergence, we need to get above these areas. So there, you know, like this area. What can we do instead, which is easier to see? You know, we want to see the prices going above these areas so that we can avoid the concepts of hidden bearish divergence. Instead, have just convergence on the bullish aspect of things. And where does those put us? Well, it puts us above a 236 Fibonacci retracement. It sort of invalidates this previous one that we had on from we've drawn in from the previously in the past, and it puts us above the 618 here, the golden pocket area where we came up to on the more current Fibonacci retracement. Now, of course, the 618 being that area where it's, you know, very common area for retracements to happen at. You know, you could see one happen in here, and we could see the prices drop down somewhat as a result of that. Of course, maybe we could see things go on above and towards the 786, which is another common area as part of this concept of highs. And you know, and the question becomes, do we need to put in a lower high and with this trend line, which doesn't work here on the logarithmic chart. You know, you can see it working on the linear chart. Could that potentially work for us? Now, I've been kind of eager to get back over to hit BTC again. For the fun, Tezos staking surpassed EOS 93% is locked, and staking is biggest network in Tezos. That's right, Amath. Yeah, you're right. EOS has been beaten by Tezos in terms of the staking, and that is interesting. Where's my... That's not BTC. Yeah, that is interesting, and you know, that diminishes the supply side of things and whatever else. It does create that sort of inflationary aspect on the coin itself. So, you know, you obviously want to see the prices continue to go up. Generally speaking, Tezos does a lot of the things that EOS does as well, but maybe perhaps does them a little bit better. It's a bit more decentralized as well with its staking type thing. EOS uses these pools where there's like 20 of them or something, I think, or 25, I don't know, and it create you know, a delegation process. And while that's those sorts of concepts of delegation also exist with Tezos, it's more decentralized. Which is a good thing, you know. So I guess that's another part of this positive news period that we've had, you know, since the court case that came in for Tezos. So, you know, that's cool. That's good crack if you're watching along with this. This is obviously a conversation that is happening in the Tezos world in general, and on Twitter as well. There's a few people like Rosa as well. Hello, shout out to you if you happen to watch this video, that talk about Tezos quite a bit. And it's interesting. It's an interesting coin, right? Anyway, getting distracted here. This episode would be finished already if it wasn't for the community. What I wanted to remind everybody is that in here at $3.11, you've got a 236 on this mad Fibonacci retracement that we drew in wick to wick on the all-time highs to lows over here and hit BTC. Now, I appreciate that it's, you know, there's various factors about this, like that I used the wicks and stuff to draw in, but I just think that it's a real curious number in there, that $3 really, just, you know, think about it as being kind of $3.10. If the prices can do that on hit BTC and maintain it for more than a day or two, then potentially, you know, you could start having total astronaut chat about things, and that'll be fun. Of course, what we want to really look to is like $4 and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, that kind of sums us up really, actually. But what I want to see happen in terms of, this is again not fitting because of the linear thing. I want to see us staying in terms of this linear chart. I want to stay in it's above the 260 here, where the median line is, where we have that horizontal drawn in 258, whatever. And I want to see us maintain those prices and actually maintain above that one that you can really barely see, that horizontal blue line there at 271 or so here on HIT BTC. Make it up above the 786, which is a fairly common retrace area, and make higher highs. We've got equal highs over here, and those concepts that we're talking about in terms of, you know, doubly topness or whatever coming in at this area, we want to overcome that and actually overcome the previous highs here at 322, and we want to move on beyond that overall. And in the face of convergence, by and large, although there is a little bit of divergence in the MACD, we have a positive strength trend towards the upside on the ADX effort there down below, and we're just kind of excuse me, we're just avoiding having divergence. You know, we could have had bearish divergence here on the stochastics, but between these two highs, but actually between the latest high and that high, you know, it's not there. So, you know, we've kind of undone that, which is good, which gave the oscillators a little bit of a room to reset somewhat, as you speak about, and we maintained the overall upward trend here, as you can see on this thing, into this overbought territory, where, you know, whilst on textbooks would tell you you don't want to be there because it'll come back down again, as people talk about, and as I've pointed out a few times, that generally speaking, you know, that's where we kind of need to be, up there in those areas. That's what I'm looking for in Tezos. Thanks so much for joining with me to do this technical analysis. You know, of course, at some point in the future, the whole world could crash. I could look like a complete fool for having said anything like these sorts of things here with it, but I do feel like overall we're greed free and FOMO free in terms of looking at the technical analysis on the channel, and we are aware of downward side targets, which we could be looking to, you know, 238, 215, all that sort of stuff. I've just kind of had a bit more of a positive, fun episode here today, just I guess for it to be uplifting and all that, instead of looking at any downside targets, because we've spoken about them so much recently that we know what they are. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode. It's been a pleasure. I've been Rocky Outcrop. We've been Rocky Outcrop Competitions together. Share this video with a friend if you've got one that would think would like it. I think the shares are probably the most important thing for growing the channel right now, but I really don't have a clue because I'm not Mr. YouTube over here. So I'd appreciate it if you just did all the whole blooming lot and hit like and everything. Let's grow the channel, but whatever. I appreciate you just having turned up at all in the first place. I'll catch you tomorrow. As always, do these videos every day, so thanks very much for tuning in.